Hello guys, Matt is back again with another Typescript video, and today we'll be looking at switch statements. If you haven't already subscribed, please click on the subscription button below and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I release a new video. Let's go. Before we can look at our switch statements, I just need to clarify something from the previous video when we looked at if statements. I failed to mention that you can actually have multiple else if conditions in your if else statements. So let's have a look at that quickly. I'm going to try and look at the same problem we were looking at yesterday of the online store, where we are trying to restrict underage users from seeing alcoholic beverages. So let's say if age equals to 18, you'd have your condition in there. So let's say we allowed our users online to see different alcoholic beverages, in the case that maybe some beverages say under 21, some say over 18, some say over 21, sorry. And let's just say theoretically we showed different ones to 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, and things like that, just to show you this example over here. So you can go else if age equals to 19. You already know about the else if. So now let's look at, you can actually go, you can actually go, no, man. You can actually have another one over there and say if 20 and more, and go 21. Sorry, and more, 22. So you can actually have as many else ifs as you want, but you can only have one else, which should make sense, because what this is saying over here is saying evaluate these conditions, and if none of them are true, do this one over here. You can't have another else after that. You can't have another else after that, because you're saying if all of these fail, do this. So yeah, you can't continue down and say else if, you see. So that's why you can't have multiple else's, but you can actually have multiple else ifs. So yeah, I hope that that makes sense. And now we can actually start off with our switch statements. So what are switch statements? A switch statement is a basic control structure used to perform different actions based on different conditions. It kind of sounds like an if statement, right? But they're actually different. They operate within with different rules. So now, let's say we had a program, which we're going to write now, a program that given a number between 1 and 7, it should give you the day of the week. So we have our day. I'm just going to give that value 1, and then we want to show the day of the week, and then let's just say day of week, and we want that to be of type string. We don't have the value of that as yet. Our program below will actually give us the value of the day of the week. So if you're using VS Code, you can just type SW and then it will give you suggestions. So I'm just going to choose the second one over here, and then it will write the structure for me. Like, this is the structure of your switch statement. So you have the keyword switch, and you have this key thing over here. The key here is the thing that you are trying to evaluate. So in this case, we'll be evaluating the day. So we'll put the day over there. And then the value that we want to work with, given that the day. So I'll explain now. Let me remove this guy over here, which I will explain as we move forward. So now, assuming that Sunday is the first day of the week, and we're starting off at 1. So we'll go case 1. So in the case that day is 1, we want to do something. So you have your case, the value, which is 1, and a colon here. That's the syntax. And then you can write that underneath here. So we can say, okay, day of week equals to, let's just say Sunday. And then, sorry, I'm just gonna copy that. So this is your default condition case, your default case. So what the default case is saying if the case above does not hold true, do some default actions in here. So in here, I'm going to go unknown. If we don't know the day of the week, so we only have one condition over here. Let's test that out before we continue. So now I'm just gonna try TSC switch statements, and I'm gonna compile that, and then I'm gonna run the result of that. Oh, sorry. And let me print this off to the screen. Let's print off the day of the week and see what we get. Compile. We get unknown, but we have day being 1, so we would expect our day of the week to print out Sunday. But there's a reason for that. In order to get the right the value that we expect, we actually need to tell Typescript or JavaScript that once it finds the value, it should stop. So what happened there? It said, okay, day is 1. It went in here, made the value there, and then after that, it moved on to this one because we didn't tell it to stop. So it checks more conditions after that. So to show you that this is actually the case, I'm going to console.log in this case, right? I'm just going to say case 1 is true. Case 1 is true, right? And then I'm going to compile, run. You see we had case 1 is true, and then we also had, so actually let me print this out this way. So the console log can actually take multiple values, so you can actually go day of week, so you can actually have as many as you want. It will print them all out. So now I'm saying print out day of week is, so that so you can see the distinction between the two. So I'm going to go node. So it's saying case 1 is true because we went into that, and say day of week is unknown. So that's what we get. Now let's add another case here. So I'm gonna go case 2, and then I'm going to say if case I'm just gonna copy this over here. And then I'm going to say for this guy, this should be Monday, right? And say case 2 is true. Let's compile and run. Oh, it also says case 2 is true. Yeah. So what happens is once a condition passes, it continues down, right? Like I said in the previous one. So it'll come in here and say case 1 is true. And then since this is true, it'll actually, if you don't tell it to stop here, it'll actually run everything after that. So it'll go case 2 is true, it'll run this block, it'll run the next one and the next one and the next one, because you didn't tell it to stop. But once one is true, it's true for the rest of the things. All the cases after the one that is true will be true. So now if I change this value to 2 over here, case 1 is true should not work. So I'm going to do that, compile. You see, now we only get case 2 is true, which is the case, but we also get the value is still unknown. But now, in order to get the right value, the value that we expect, we need to tell it to break. So what break does, it says, okay, since you found the value of this thing that you're looking for, you don't need to look anymore unless you want to. If you don't want to, then you not have the break in. So you'd want to do something here and then do other things after that. But if that's you say, okay, this is my value, I want this value, leave me alone. You need to tell it to break. This is one of the ways you can tell it to stop there. There's another one which we'll be looking at in the future, which is the return, but we're not looking at that now. So you tell it to break. Now let's change this to 1 and see what we get now. So now it says case 1 is true and day of the week is Sunday. So now we got a Sunday there. So if we break there and then change that to 2 and then compile and run it again. Now it says case 2 is true and day of week is Monday. So if you forget your break, it'll continue. So on and on and on, it'll continue, and everything else after that will be true. So it will evaluate everything else as true after that. So you need to be mindful of that. So now I'm just going to make this a 3, a 4. Just copy those ones. Copy that. Let's go. Hey. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it has, this is Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, case 7 there, case 6 there, case 5, case 4, case 3. Yeah. And now whatever value if I go 8, we expect it to be unknown. It's 8, 7, save and run. Saturday. So you can test the code out, the rest of the conditions. So for your exercise, try and write the same thing that we did here, but with not using switch statement, using if else statement. So yeah, that's your exercise for today. Just comment down below with your different answers, and then yes sir.